Hello everyone. This is in continuation to what we did last time regards to the various psychrometric processes and its applications we have started looking at. Now let's see one problem which is based on what we had studied last time. The problem you can see here, this is on design of air conditioning system. The problem is an air conditioning system is to be designed for for a restaurant when the following data is available. So let's see what things we have been given. Total heat gain through the walls is so much. Solar heat gain through the walls is so much. Equipment sensible heat gain is so much. Equipment latent heat gain is given. Total infiltrated air is given. Infiltrated air means the one which has come in through some gaps in the building, door structures, windows. So unintentional entry of the air. This is not desired actually, infiltration. 400 meter cube per hour. Outdoor conditions given to you. That means outside temperatures, dry bulb and wet bulb. Indoor design conditions. This is what we are trying to maintain at the indoor. 2755% RH. Minimum temperature of air supplied to the room. At what temperature? Supplied temperature is given 17 degrees Celsius. Total amount of fresh air supplied. Now it means we have two components here. One is the fresh air and then the other is recirculated air. So this is the fresh air component. Seating chairs for dining. This is a restaurant, so there are 100 people who are supposed to be dining. Then we have employees serving the meals. There are 10 employees who are serving meals. Then motor power of a fan. Now where is the fan coming into picture? The fan is required to ensure the proper flow of the air into the room. So that is 12 kilowatts. If the fan is situated before the conditioner, they have said the position, find the followings. We are required to work out on this. Amount of air delivered to the room in meter cube per hour. At what rate the air is being delivered to the room. Then percentage of recirculated air. Then room sensible, room latent, room total heat in TR. One more thing is dew point temperature of a cooling coil is to be found out. And then we have refrigeration load on the cooling coil in TR to be found out. Neglect the heating of air passing through the fan. When the air passes through the fan, that is likely to get heated. We are neglecting that. Sensible heat gain per person is given as 280 kilojoule per hour at rest, when the person is at rest, and 300 kilojoule per hour for light work. This is for rest and this is for light work. This is a sensible part. Latent heat gain per person is given 120 kilojoule per hour at rest and 360 kilojoule per hour at light work. Now this is referring to the people here who are sitting, that is, you can see seating chairs for dining. So people who are sitting will be at rest. So this is at rest latent heat for those people. This is at rest sensible gain, heat gain for those person. And there are people who employs serving the meals. They are supposed to be doing some light work. So for them, this is what will be the data which is to be considered. So this is the entire problem which we are supposed to be working out at. I'll also send you the one photo of this entire sheet so that you will be in a position to write the problem properly. And because I expect you to solve this problem with the proper values being considered from psychrometric chart. Now what exactly has to be done in this? See, there are so many things which are given here. One is that there are heat gains given to the room. First thing which will be required to be doing is to decide the layout, how your system happens to be, how your refrigeration system, or sorry, air conditioning system happens to be. We have to decide it. So here we obviously know that it is cooling dehumidification, because it is clearly said find the cooling coil capacity in TR and all that. It is cooling and dehumidification. There is one fan, there is recirculation of air, there is fresh air being entering in, because it's clearly given here that there is certain amount of fresh air which is supposed to be entering into the room. Total amount of fresh air supplied. So there is fresh air, there is recirculated air, so there has to be a mix of the two, then it has to be cooled and dehumidified, and then to be sent to the conditioned space. So let me first make a block diagram of what we have based on what we have been given, and that block diagram becomes something like this, or the layout of the process. So this is your conditioned space or room. Outdoor air comes from here, and this is a recirculated air. Of the recirculated air, certain part is taken here, remaining is exhausted. Outdoor is taken here, then we have certain percentage of outdoor, certain percentage of recirculated, remaining is exhaust. This exhaust can be shown here, or it can be shown here also. In my earlier lecture I had shown separately out here. So this 1 and 2, outdoor air is mixed with the recirculated air, and then it becomes 3. Then what we have is a fan here. This is a fan. Then what we have is a conditioner, that is, this is a cooling coil. Then after the two streams are mixed up together, it is passing over the fan. They have said that heating effect is not to be considered. Then it comes to 4. Of course, later on we will see what implication it has in the load calculations, or actually total cooling load. So 3 to 4. Now that's a situation which is being changed by this conditioner, mainly because this conditioner has a cooling coil which is kept below the dew point temperature, that's and of the air which is mixed up over here. So ultimately leading to cooling and dehumidification. You're separating out water from this. That air is being supplied here at 0.4. Now supply air is corresponding to 0.4. Outdoor air is corresponding to 0.1. Recirculated air is corresponding to 0.2. Of course, a part of this is recirculated air. We should call this as recirculated air, and this is the exhaust air partially. So this is what is our block diagram corresponding to the data which they have given to us. Let's see how this happens to be on the psychrometric chart. Now you have to use your psychrometric chart assuming that we are at mean sea level, and therefore we can use the chart which is at 760 millimeters of Hg. So here I have shown the representation. You will actually have to check it on your chart for the values, detailed values. So we have W on this axis, that is it's the humidity ratio. We have this dry bulb temperature over here, dPt, and this W. These are the two axes which we are considering. Now the first point, outdoor air. Now let me go back here to this particular page and see here what are the conditions for outdoor. Outdoor conditions are given as 35 degrees Celsius dBT and 26 degrees Celsius WBT. So definitely we can plot this particular point on this. So I have 35 degrees Celsius dBT, we can take that along this line, and I have 26 degrees Celsius as WBT. So your first point can be actually plotted on the psychrometric chart here. Then that means outdoor conditions are known to you. Okay, what next we need is the condition which is supposed to be corresponding to 0.2. What is the one which you are supplying it here? Now this 2 is supposed to be what I had called as design condition. If at all you want, you can just leave it from here itself called as, this is what you can call it as an exhaust, a separate thing instead of having any confusion. Because if I take as an example, sorry, this is I have removed this part and I have shown it over here. Say for example 40% outdoor, 60% indoor, that is recirculated. It can be different proportions. What actually it will be in this particular problem, we will see that they have not given 40 and 60. We have to find out. So this and this mixed up together, 40 plus 60 will become 100. 30 plus 70, if you are taking this, becomes 100. Doesn't matter. So that goes on over here, goes through the conditioner, gets conditioned, supplied to the room. Ultimately from here you take back 60% of it, This is 40, this is 60, it's 40, 60, 100. So if you're taking 60 out of this here, the remaining 40 also should be exhausted. So then only the mass will be balanced, otherwise pressure will start raising here, because it's just gone pumping outdoor into the conditioned space. Definitely the pressure inside will go on raising. So there is exhaust obviously. Anyway, but what actually it means to us is that this particular room is required to be maintained under standard indoor conditions, and the indoor conditions have been clearly given in this particular problem. We can see that indoor design conditions have been specified here: 27 degrees Celsius dry bulb and 55% RH. So we can plot this 2755 RH point on this chart here. So this is my 27 degrees Celsius point. This line I'll take, and 55% could be some line like this, that is 55% RH line will be somewhere like this. On this you have this particular, this intersection with this one gives you point number 2. So what are we doing here? We are mixing up 1 with 2, 1 plus 2. So we have located point 1, we have second point here, we are mixing up 1 with 2. So 1 to 2 is being mixed up, and ultimately that will give you 0.3. 1 plus 2 gives you 0.3. The question arises, where is this point going to be? That we can check out. So at the moment, fine. So we have done this part of mixing up the two things here together. We have been given some data regarding the fresh or outdoor air. That's what we will just focus on. Total amount of fresh air supplied. They have given this amount in terms of meter cube per hour. I have told you that this is the flow rate, meter cube per hour, and many a times if we go into the other units, CFM, cubic feet per minute, could be another possible unit which can be used for the volume flow rate, which is more common in the case of designs done. So it can be meter cube per hour, it can be meter cube per second, anything like that. And so this total amount of fresh air supplied is 1600 meter cube per hour. So we can have a look at it here. This fresh air means outdoor air. This one. This is 600 meter cube per hour. How much is required here? How much is required here is what we are required to be clear about. Now that will depend on how much heat you have to remove from this. Because if you will supply less amount of the air here, that will not be capable of taking out the amount of heat which has been generated inside this room. So we need to know the exact amount which you are required to be supplying, and that is the total air which you are supplying. This is outdoor, this is recirculated, so this is total. So how much total air you have to supply will depend on how much heat removal is required to be there. So from that aspect, we have to first of all go for finding out what is the amount of heat which is required to be removed from the room. So amount of heat required to be removed from the room will depend on the it will be dependent on the various heat gains inside the room. Where all from it gains the heat, that's what we have to just check. And in our problem, details have been given about it. Let's go back to the problem and see. Total heat flow through the walls. This is a heat gained by the room. This is 21,200 kilojoule per hour. Solar heat gain through the glass. This is 6,800 kilojoule per hour. This is also heat gain. Now if you see carefully, first part, through the wall, heat gain flow through the wall. Obviously it is an indication that it is a sensible heat, because through the walls what we can expect is sensible. Through the glass it can be sensible only. Either it could be conductive or it could be radiative. They have not specified here whether it is radiant heat or conduction heat. Let us assume that it's the total heat. If at all they give separate heads like 3000 by conduction and 3800 by radiation, so it will become 3 addition of the two. But it is obviously both of them will be the component of sensible heat only. Then equipment sensible heat. That means there are some equipments inside this particular room, and these equipments are giving out heat. So that heat is also given to you. Equipment sensible heat is given. That is this much, 10,000 kilojoule per hour. equipment latent heat. So those some of the equipments are also giving out moisture into the room. There can be equipment which can be adding moisture inside the room. So that is also given to you. Equipment latent heat gain is given this much. So these are some of the heat gains for the room which have been given. Infiltration air, it's a mass flow rate or rather volume flow rate. This we have already referred. This minimum temperature we have already considered while plotting our second point. Now this seating chairs for dining 100, that means there are 100 people expected in the restaurant, 10 employees are expected in the restaurant, 12 kilowatt fan is expected for circulation. And regarding the people here, because there are people inside this conditioned space, so the people will also give out heat to the inside the room. So what kind of heat is given by the people inside the room? That is given here. Latent heat gain per person. Each person gives how much latent heat. That depends on whether the person is at rest or whether the person is doing a light work. Now it's obvious that there are 100 persons who are sitting here and going to be eating. So they are obviously at rest. So if at all you are finding out 120 kilojoule per hour, this is per person. So there are 100 people. So they will give 100 into 120 times the total latent heat. Whereas these employees who are serving meals, they will also give latent heat, that is 360 multiplied by 10 or 10 multiplied by 360 will be the amount of latent heat given by them. But people are also going to obviously give sensible heat, and the sensible heat has been shown here. At rest, this is 280. So people are at rest, these will be at rest. These will be at light work. Obviously, it's not given to you in the problem. You have to obviously consider this assumption and then go with it. So if people are at light work and rest, these are the conditions. So 110, and these are the sensible heat gains from the people, which is 280 multiplied by how many are at rest. 100 are at rest. 280 multiplied by 100. 300 for light work. 300 multiplied by 10. That is a part of your sensible heat gain. So this is what we are required to be first of all finding out. So within this particular room, what is the heat gain from all the sources, from conduction, the equipments, tubing. Equipments will take care of tube lights and all things, and people inside the room, and infiltrated air. That is also one more part. Let's see, that is one more thing here. Total infiltration of the air is 400 meter cube per hour. Infiltration means the air will leak into the room through some doors, windows, cracks and all that. So this infiltrated air will also add heat inside the room, because that will be at a higher temperature and different humidity conditions than what you are trying to maintain inside. So it will add water vapor as well as heat as well as humidity, ultimately adding heat into the room. So both components of the infiltrated air are required to be considered for this. Okay, having done this particular part, now let me switch to the actual calculation of the value so that you can understand what we are trying to do here. So here we are, cooling load calculation. So we are trying to find out the cooling load through which is supposed to be the heat gain through all these various sources. Going back again, heat gain through the walls, which was given here. Heat gain through the walls 21,200. This is 21,200. It's fine. That is sensible. I have written it clearly inside this. Then solar heat gain through the glass, that's also given directly. So 6,800, 6,800 is given. I have rewritten the things here. Equipment sensible heat, 10,000. Again I have rewritten the things here. Latent heat, equipment latent heat is 2,400. I have written it again over here. Sensible heat gain from people who are dining. This is what I was talking about. People who are dining, seating capacity 100. These are at rest. 100 people are dining. And I am talking about the sensible heat from this. So sensible is coming over here, 280 multiplied by 100. 280 multiplied by 100, 280 per person in kilojoule per hour multiplied by 100. This is the total sensible heat which is associated with it. Latent heat gain from the people who are dining. Again, dining, people who are dining are 100 only. This is 100. The latent heat will be, people are at rest, so 120 into 100, that is this much as the latent heat. Then Employees, there are 10 employees here, so each one gives, being at light work, this much amount of latent. 360 into 10, 360 into 10, this is the latent heat gain from the employees, that is the latent part. And sensible heat gain is 300 for light work, so 300 into 10, this is the sensible heat part. All these are in the same unit, that's very important. Kilojoule per hour, everything is in kilojoule per hour, everything is in same unit. Now we are talking about the infiltration load. Infiltration air load. Infiltration air is outdoor air, that is obviously the outdoor air is at 3526. So here we have it at 35 from here, and 26, this is outdoor air. One is supposed to be outdoor air, 2 is supposed to be design condition. This is point number 2, point number 1. 3 is the state when after mixing, and 4 is the supply air. Okay, so we are talking about infiltration of the air. Some time back I told you infiltration air means actually the air which is not intended to be entering in, but it has entered because of some cracks, maybe through doors, windows, through structure, wherever it is, the cracks will allow the outdoor air to enter into it. Okay, so outdoor air will obviously at 35 and 26, so that is obviously going to be corresponding to point 1, and that air will definitely have certain specific volume. Now this specific volume can be found out by the line. If we remember, we had done that constant specific volume line like this up there in this. The specific volume at point 1 can be found out, and that is specific volume at 1 has been found out from this. You will have to find out that volume from the psychrometric chart. And therefore mass of infiltrated air, we have been given the volume of infiltrated air, volume flow rate. You see, this is what is given as the infiltration here. Infiltration air is 400 meter cube per hour. This is what is the infiltration, total infiltration load. So total infiltration volume flow rate. Mass of infiltrated air therefore will be volume of infiltrated air upon specific volume. So 400 meter cube per hour divided by, this is in meter cube per kg of dry air. So this is in meter cube per hour, this is in meter cube per kg of dry air. So if you take out the meter cube out of this, you will have kg per hour. So much mass is supposed to be the infiltration mass. The infiltrated air at 1 in psychrometric chart has to be brought to the design state 2 as per the chart. It will have two components. That means, see, this particular infiltrated air which is going into the room from various cracks has to be brought to the state which is 2. That means ultimately we are required to come down to that particular point 2, and it will have two components. That infiltrated air will have two components. Number 1 is the sensible part, and the other one is the latent part, and that is what we can try to look at here. That is, this particular thing has to be brought to point 2. That means this is what we can construct as a say perpendicular right angle triangle here with A as the point here. So if you see, this particular H1 will be the value of enthalpy corresponding to point 1, H2 will be the enthalpy of the air corresponding to point 2. That much heat has been added. So this part of it is going to be obviously the latent, and this part of it will be sensible. When the infiltrated air comes at this point, and when you want to bring it at this particular point, you will have to remove this much amount of heat total. Out of that, this much will be the latent and this much will be the sensible. So latent will be H1 minus HA and sensible will be HA minus H2. So that's what we can see here. So sensible heat gain from infiltrated air is mass of infiltrated air, which we have found out here, into HA minus H2. HA minus H2, this is sensible, temperature is changing, sensible heat gain. Whereas latent heat gain will be m dot infiltrated air multiplied by, this is m dot multiplied by H1 minus HA. This is what is the latent part, H1 minus HA. Now these values are available to you from the chart directly. Go to the chart, psychrometric chart, find out how much is H1, find out how much is HA, find out how much is H2, and you know this value of infiltrated air mass. Put that here, and you get these values in kilojoule per hour. So this is what we will have to do. Now, having done this, now we'll make a table which will be indicating all these loads in as per the categories, sensible or latent. So let's go back here and see what is that we have done. So here is that thing, heat gain through the walls, first part, sensible. So heat gain through the walls and all, this is what you will write here, nothing comes out here, this is nil, 0. Then second, heat gain through the glass, solar radiation, is sensible, nothing over here, 6,800. Third is equipment sensible heat, 10,000. Equipment heat sensible is 10,000. Here latent, is there a latent? Yes, there is a latent, 2,400 is a latent, so this is 10,000, this is 2,400. Then heat from people dining. So heat from people dining, we have found out that latent as well as sensible who are dining. This is latent, and this is dining. This is sensible. Sensible heat of people who are dining is this much, 28,000. Sensible is 28,000, whereas this is going to be 12,000. So this will be 12,000. Heat from people who are serving, that is employees. Sensible heat gain from people who are serving. Sensible is so much, and latent is so much. So sensible you will write here, latent you will write here. Then infiltrated air. Infiltrated air, sensible heat part is whatever you have done as a calculation, you will get it here, and whatever you have done as a calculation for latent, you will get it here. So infiltration load will be correspondingly this and this. So once having categorized all these things, then you can add all these things. So here everything is there, 1 2 3 4 5 6 are there. Here however this is not there, is 0 because there is no latent heat associated. This is also 0, but these things you have calculated. So you have this addition coming up here, that is what we call as the room sensible heat. This this addition, obviously this is 0 0, so it will be here, that is room latent heat. So once you have done this calculation of room sensible heat and room latent heat, what you should understand is that within this room, that much is the sensible heat added, that much is the latent heat added through all the sources. So now if you take up the sum of these, so that is the total heat gain into the room. Room sensible heat plus room latent heat, so many kilojoule per hour, that is what I call it as Q dot room. Having done this, now we know what is the total amount of heat which has been gained inside. So we are going to next find out what is what you call it the RSHF. If you remember, we had done that room sensible heat factor, which is equal to room sensible heat upon room total heat, room sensible heat plus room latent heat. That we know everything here, we can find that value. Suppose this comes as 0.8, I don't know, you will have to calculate and check out. This comes as 0.8. Now what I'm supposed to do is go on to this particular chart, okay, and on this I am supposed to be drawing a line of 0.8 slope. Now 0.8, see, if you consider 1 RSH will be a line like this, and if you consider 0 RSH, the line will be like this. The slopes are actually being considered like, let me just explain that here. This will be, supposing that any process, let us forget that problem for some time. This is what is your room sensible heat, room latent heat. Now your RSHF happens to be equal to room sensible heat upon RSH plus RLH. If RLH becomes 0, if, then what will happen? This becomes 0. In that case, this by this means RSHF will be equal to 1. And if RSH is equal to 0, that means this is 0. Then in that case, RSHF will be equal to 0. So you have either 0 to 1. Up to that is what will be the value of your RSHF. Now let us say the first case, RLH is 0. RLH is 0 means this is 0. If you make this 0, then this line will become only like this. This is not there, so now this line will fall down here, and that means this is 1. Whereas if you don't have any sensible heat, only latent heat, this is 0 suppose, then RLH will become like this, straight line. This is 0. So basically 0 to 1. Now this is where you are in between. So you will have a graduation actually of the things over here, that is from 0 to 1. Any horizontal line on this will indicate 1 as your RSH, room sensible heat factor. This one vertical line will indicate 0, but a line inclined like this will have something else because it has latent as well as sensible heat part. If you go back to the psychrometric chart, you will find that there are some additional lines which have been provided here, which are of different slopes, and then gradually the slope starts reducing and then it becomes horizontal. They call it a 0 to, if you go further here, the slope will go on further increasing and it can actually become 1, but they don't show it up to 1 because that's not practicable. So from 0 gradually, now these lines are having more and more slope. So these are constant RSHF lines. I'll just show you that in the actual psychrometric chart. I hope that's clear to you. So here is that. This is 1. You will find 0.95, 0.9, 0.8. Now you can see the inclination starts increasing. 0.7 is little more, 0.65 is still more, 0.6 is still more, 65, 55, 45 is at 45 degrees, 40 is at 40 degrees, not 40 degrees, 0.4, no, not 0.45, I mean this is at 0.45, this is not angle, sorry, 0.45, this is 40, 0.4, 0.35. So these are the values. Now if I want to draw inside this a line at an angle of, say, parallel to, say, something like 0.45. So what I will have to do is take a roller scale. This roller scale will match with this 0.45 graduation. Okay, now this is fine, this is 0.45 is all fine, but that 0.45 I may need it. Now if I take any line parallel here, it will be a 0.45 slope line. If I take 0.5, then this will be the line. If I take 0.6, this would be the line. Now this line has to be drawn inside this at some place, some location. This is only aligning it with this line 0.4 and drawing it, or 0.35 and drawing it. You can see the slope is increasing. If I am at 0.95 here, I'm here. If I'm at 0.5, I'm like this. If I'm at 0.4, I'm like this. So this is just to give you an idea where you should align your roller scale. Once you align your roller scale, you can roll this scale here, and if you want, you can draw a line from, say, this point, and that this line will be at 0.4. If you want from here, supposing it is parallel, it is 0.4. So all these parallel lines here will be, all these parallels here will be at 0.4. Number of lines can be drawn like that. Now here is what we are required to be using it for in our actual problem solving. So what actually happens is, we have found out this RSH, sensible heat factor, which is what is there. Now in your diagrams, this may be having graduations only like 0.1, say 1, 0.95, 0.9, all that. In between may not be available, but one can go for a higher or better chart which is having more graduations, and you can be more perfect about it. Because now in the calculation what we have got, this is what we did in the earlier case. We got this value of RSHF here. Suppose this comes out to be 0.8, precise 0.8. So what am I supposed to be doing is, I'm supposed to be drawing the line at 0.8 RSH from where? From the room curve. That's a room sensible heat factor. Going back again, yes, here, this is your room. Your room operates between 4 and 2, because 4 is supply condition, 2 is this is your room. This supplies air at 4 and then takes out. So whatever is the heat addition here is that RSHF we are talking about, total room heat which we are talking about, RSH plus RLH. So 4 to 2 is the process inside the room, and that's what we have it here, 4 to 2. Now how do you get this particular 0.4? For that we need to have this particular line to be used. How to use this line? Now, as I told you some time back, on your psychrometric chart somewhere here you have a line at 0.8. suppose this is your 0.8 line. So what you do is take this roller scale, align it with this, okay, start sliding, slide. Okay, let me just instead of this let me take it more correctly, because I had drawn this line already here. Okay, so let us say that this is my 0.8 line. All right, this is my 0.8 line. So I will align my scale with this, and then I'll start drawing the line. Now you know 0.2, you have already drawn that. So you just slide this down, 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 and down, so that you reach 0.2. Once you reach 0.2, from here you can draw this particular line. That is 0.8 RSHF line. Once you draw this particular line, that is this line I'm talking about. This is the line. This is the line at 0.8. Your 0.8 graduation would be available here. That's fine. You take a line corresponding to this particular graduation here, set it here, and then pull it down and make it pass through 0.2. This is your 0.8 RSHF line. Now one line you have drawn, but that's not sufficient, because we need to make use of the data which is given in the problem here. What is said here is your supply room air temperature has been given to you. Minimum temperature of air supplied to the room. Now which is this temperature? Supply. This is supply. That is 0.4. This is supply. This is 0.4. So temperature of air being supplied is corresponding to 4. So here is what we are required to be doing. This is 17 degrees Celsius. I take it on this graph over here, and then from here I draw a vertical line. This vertical will intersect with this RSHF line, and you get 0.4 now. Now you get 0.4. That's how you can find the 0.4 from there. Fine. So we know now 0.4, we know 0.2. Coming back here. From 0.2, draw RSHF line, draw a vertical line from 70. This is what has been explained. These two lines will intersect at 0.4. Now what I am trying to do is amount of air to be circulated to the room. I am finding out how much is the total amount of air which we want to be supplied into the room. Into this room, how much air should be supplied? How much is total air? This is partially recirculated, and this is outdoor. So this is the air which is supposed to be taking that heat, and then partially it is going on this side. So how do you find that? Because this air which is supplied should be capable of taking out the heat which has been added into the room. So that's what we are doing. So that is associated with the room process 4 to 2. You can see this is from 4 to 2 is your room process. It's happening inside the room. 4 to 2 is happening inside the room. So correspondingly, the heat which is to be taken out from the room is equal to mass flow rate of the air from the room multiplied by how much is the energy associated with that. H2 is the energy of the air leaving the room. You can see this is the recirculated part, and this is H2, and H4 is the supply condition. So H2 minus H4. This is correspondingly from here you can find out H4. Now that you know what is the enthalpy at this point, you also know this point, you can know the enthalpy at this point. So enthalpies at H2 and HE can be found out from the psychrometric chart, and you know this total load has been calculated from here. You have calculated room sensible, room latent, you have calculated. So if you put that value inside here, that is total room load, these values are known to you. Mass through the room can be, mass flow rate from the room can be calculated. So this is the total mass flow rate. Out of this is a total. Out of this, they have said in the problem that here is the place, so you can see total amount of fresh air supplied is 1600. So out of the total 1600 is coming from the outdoor. So supposing that you get that to be some value, and in that case, suppose you get 6,000. So out of 6,000 you are getting 1,600 from your room, from fresh air. So 6,000 minus 1,600 will be your recirculation. So that's what we are finding out here. You can see this now. So the amount of recirculated air will be equal to mass total circulated. This is the total which we have just found out. Amount of recirculated air is equal to this total you have found out is equal to m dot outdoor, which you know how much you taken, and plus m dot recirculated. This is what you just found out. Okay, so you know it. 1,600 is your outdoor air. This you have found out just now. This is given to you in the problem. So this is what can be found out by calculation, simply subtracting this minus this. So mass of fresh air supplied is 1,600 meter cube per hour. That's what is given. One conversion will be obviously required because that's given in terms of the volume flow rate. So 1,600 divided by specific volume of that will be so many kg per hour. That is outdoor mass flow rate. So that you put it here. This is what you calculated earlier, and from there you can find out this. This is what has been asked to be found out. How much is the recirculation air which you are having here. Now you know, we have to then take a ratio of outdoor air, which is known to you, mass of outdoor air, divided by total mass of the room which is supplied to the room. So this is what happens to be known to you, outdoor air 1,600 converted to some value here, and m dot room as what you have obtained from the earlier case. So this ratio what you get is this one, x I called it as. Anyway, whatever value you get, you can say it could be, say why we are doing this is because how much part of the outdoor air is associated with the room air. That's what we are trying to look into. So say maybe 40%. So if this is 40, this is 100. 40% of 40 of 100. So whatever value comes. So suppose this comes out as 35, then that means 35% outdoor air is there. So now what you are doing is, now find 0.3 on line 1, 2 on psychrometric chart. I'm going back again here to the psychrometric chart. Here is your 1, 2. We see, remember, we have plotted this, we have plotted this, we have plotted this. So far we have done that. 3 still we do not know. We are trying to find out 0.3 now. And if you remember, the mixing process happens to be 1 from this side and 2 from this side gives you 3. So 1 from this side and 2 from this side gives you 3. 1 plus 2. And if you remember this in the mixing which we had discussed earlier, so percentage of the fresh air, that is what you are getting it, you will get as a proportion of the distance which you are getting here. As an example I had given last time, suppose this happens to be 10 centimeter long as a distance if you measure actually, and this is 40% is suppose the fresh air, this one. So you will get this as 40 and this as 60 as a division. That means this will be 4 centimeter and this will be 6 centimeter. So that's what exactly you are supposed to be doing now with this particular calculation. You have got this value as x. Fine. Suppose that comes as 0.35. I don't know, it may be 0.38, 0.39, something like that. So 0.35. So if that is the case, now find 0.3 on the line 1, 2 on psychrometric chart by measuring distance 1 to 2. First measure the distance 1 to 2 in millimeters preferably. Whatever it comes as, suppose it comes as 100 as a case. It may not be 100, it might be 70, 50, something like that. So whatever it comes, suppose it comes as 100, then of 100, this is 0.35. So what you have to do is psychrometric chart by measuring distance 1, 2 and taking 2 to 3 other distance equal to 0.35 for example, multiplied by 100. 100 is the distance which you have found out here. So it becomes 35. 35 mm. So it will be from here 35 mm, 38 mm, 39 mm, whatever is the percentage has come accordingly. If this is 10, obviously. So you have to find out the 0.3 at this place. And now once you get the 0.3 on this, I hope it is clear to you. I can give you another, say for, suppose this comes out as 70 and if that x value comes out as 0.3. So 0.3 into 70. So it will be 21. So this will be 21 as a distance. So you get the point here. From here, you know this point, join this to this, produce it here further. 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and this fifth point is what is going to be your coil temperature. So that's what we can find out. Joint 3 to 4 produce, this will meet the saturation curve at 5. Temperature at 5 will be surface temperature of cooling coil. This is the temperature at which you are required to be keeping your cooling coil. This is temperature 5 at which you are keeping your cooling coil. It's obvious that your air is flowing on at 3, moving out at 4, but your coil is maintained at 5, so there has been a bypass here, and it's definitely possible to find out a bypass factor, although not asked, but let us add it up here. So the bypass factor is equal to, what is the ideal thing that should have happened? 3 to 5. What is the actual happened? 3 to 4. What has been bypassed? 4 to 5. So bypass is 4 to 5, that means T4 minus T5. What is ideally that should have happened? Ideally that should have happened is T3 to T5. So this has to be, bypass factor is T3 minus T5. T4 minus T5 is bypass divided by T3 minus T5 is going to be your bypass factor of the coil. Dew point temperature of the coil has been found out corresponding to 0.5. That's it. So this is what is the thing, and the last part that's still remaining is refrigeration load on the cooling coil. Let's look at it. Refrigeration load on the cooling coil. The cooling coil operation is shown by what? Let us look at the diagram here, block diagram here. This is your cooling coil. The cooling coil is operating, it's maintained at 5. You are supplying air at 3 and coming at 4. So 3 to 4 happens to be your operation of cooling. Okay, so your cooling coil is subjected to these conditions, and therefore heat transfer, because on through the